just get ready for you. I am putting on my socks that I knitted. Very cool. I am ready with my blanket. I got my fireplace going, and my doggie is going to be joining us. She is looking through the window, but she will be listening in as well. Hopefully she'll stick around. And most important, I got my book. So we're going to have some fun today. We're just going to read you a story all about me. And I'll explain to you what I'm talking about in just a few minutes. But, you know what? We're just going to have fun, like I said. So let's go ahead and let's start story time. Yay! So today's shout out, as I always do, goes to a girl I met at Shoppers World here in Brampton. I was headed into Canadian Tire, and she came up to me and she said, "You're so cute." I said, "What? What?" I get it all the time. I really do. At my age, I still get it. But it was a girl, maybe she was 13, 14 years old, and she said, "You're so cute." And I was really, really shocked and surprised. And I thought, coming from a girl, wow. I didn't know what to say. And I usually always have something to say, right? However, she asked me, she goes, "No, you're really cute." And she goes, "Do you have kids?" I said, "Yeah, they're much older." She goes, "Really?" I said, "How old are you?" And she said, "I'm 18. 18. So I thought she was 13, 14. So she looked cute herself. She really did. And I told her my story. I said, "Well, I get it all the time. Don't worry." And you know what? You know what her name was? Her name was Destiny. Destiny, oh my God, it was just meant for me to meet her. It just made me realize that I had this little journey of childhood, and we all do, but I had a hard time and this and that. And, we're all trying to learn from it. So I thought we're going to have a little bit of fun because of Destiny. I thought we'll do a quick little story on me. And we're just going to, I was just like all day long, I kept thinking of Destiny, and it just really, really triggered something. So I thought, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do this one for Destiny. So we're going to have a little bit of fun. And so we're going to read a story. So this story is all about fun, okay, like I mentioned. But you know what? It's still a part of wellness, because if you don't have fun, you don't have the wellness in life. So for me, fun is my middle name, and I wanted to kind of make it lighthearted. But there may not be a lesson today, but towards the end of the story, there is probably a lesson that you could learn from my story. So this is why I'm doing it again. So what I want you to do is, I got my tea, okay, my favorite cup. I want you to grab whatever you're drinking, water, pop, alcohol? No, not at this time of the day. Grab whatever you want, get cozy, and I'm going to read you a story. And we're going to start with, "Hey, I'm glad you're back." Okay, I forgot my glasses because I can't see anything without my glasses. So, let's start reading. Yay, how exciting. Okay, Chapter 1, Labor of Love. Once upon a time in Birmingham, England, October 7, 1965, a very pregnant mother-to-be went into labor. The only way she could get to the hospital was with the only car that was home. And that was a Volkswagen Beetle. Do you know what that is? Yes. A tiny old style red Volkswagen Beetle. And they were off to the hospital. But you know what? She almost didn't make it to the hospital. She almost had the baby in the Volkswagen Beetle. Oh my God. Luckily, she made it in time. She had her baby, a healthy little baby girl. Healthy, but the only thing, the baby girl was just 4 pounds. 4 pounds, but full term. She was just a tiny thing. So I guess that's why I'm kind of tiny. Tiny car, 4 pounds, get it? Chapter 2, Walking and Talking. As a baby turns into a toddler, the walking usually comes before the talking. But in this case, not so. Mom used to leave this girl on the counter, table, any flat surface to sit for hours at a time while she did her duties. This little girl never moved, just sat there for hours. She was always supervised just in case, but she was never worried because she didn't move. But she did wear out so many shoes, just sitting down. But how is this possible? This is what she did. Okay, I'm going to pause right here. I want to show you what this little girl did. Yeah, me. Okay, this is what she did. So, when you wear shoes, right? Okay, you have here. And she's sitting on some surface. And what she used to do, she used to sat there without moving, of course. But she banged, banged, banged. She took both of her feet and banged against whatever she was sitting on. So that's what she did. So she wore out all these shoes, so many of them, just by sitting down. Isn't that crazy? Crazy story. Mom wasn't worried because she was not walking. However, she was talking, and talking. Kind of makes sense now why I talk a lot, eh? I started from when I used to sit down. Chapter 3, the primary school years. Her legal name was Verinder, but everyone called her Shorty. She had that name in grade 1. She had that name in grade 2. She had that name in grade 3, and so on and so on. She was that one person who sat up at the front of the classroom. She was the one who sat up at the front when they took a class picture. She was the one who at recess, her classmates took her to the back of the playground while no teacher was looking. Some classmates held her arms, some classmates held her legs, and they tried to stretch her. True story, I remember it. And hoping that they could get this little girl to become taller. In grade 1, she was not taller. In grade 2, she was not taller. And for as long as she could remember, she was not taller. She remained Shorty for a very, very long time. Even later on, when she went on a French exchange to Quebec, they called her Shorty. Shorty, Minnie, whatever the name was, she was a private leaning post for a lot of people. Get it? Even today. As she got older, she hung around with her sister and cousins. She felt she wasn't pretty enough. She felt she wasn't tall enough. She remembers getting her first pair of dress pants as a teenager. They didn't fit her like the rest of the girls. She had a very hard time shopping. To this day, it's still very difficult to find clothes, but she still loves shopping. This short thing really disrupted her young life. She was wondering when and if it ever would get better. Chapter 4, the terrible teenage years. She remembers having 2 braids for a very, very long time. From a baby to toddler to young child to a teenager. As a young child, she would have to get up at 6 a.m. every single morning so that her mom could braid her hair before she went to work. She was half asleep when her hair was getting done. She remembered toppling over because she fell asleep a few times. Then she couldn't go back to sleep after her mom left because her braids would get wrecked. Braids were a big part of her life, as is usually with Indian girls back in the day. She was to enter grade 9. She had enough. No braids. Parents didn't like it too much, that's for sure. She wanted to feel like a part of the crowd. At school, especially as a teenager, for sure. She was still that ugly kid. No bangs, big forehead. She also had some stitches back in England. At her hairline, to be exact. Her brother pushed her swing so high that someone had to call the ambulance because she fell off and her brother took off. He was so scared he would get in trouble. So that big forehead and that scar is the reason she feels more comfortable with bangs to this day. Yeah, bangs. I like my bangs. I won't show you my scar. To be continued. To be continued. Oh no! Oh my goodness. Okay, so I will hope that you join me next time in the continuing story of me. Yes, I hope you enjoyed it. That was a little fun take on my childhood years. And it does continue. It really does. It does kind of get better, but there is a lesson in all of this, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to thank Destiny again for making me think of doing something fun and a little bit about me as well. So I hope you liked this video and had some fun with me today. We all just want to have fun. You know, fun is my middle name, and I would love for you to be on this same journey with me and we can laugh along together. Like this video if you got anything out of it, you know, even if you got a chuckle at it, let me know. Give me the thumbs up if you can, as well as share away with somebody who you think could use a good laugh. Maybe they're struggling in their lives, or maybe they're going through something, whatever it may be. Share away, as well as comment. I love your comments as well. And also, please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, we talk about everything about health, wellness, and beauty. Subscribe, and that would help me out a lot, as well as click on the little bell so that you get a reminder that I put out a new video. So I want you all to stay healthy. First of all, I'll see you back for part 2, but stay healthy, stay positive, have lots of fun, laugh, smile, and we'll see you next time.